Hello guys, we are back with yet another tutorial. Today we're going to make these super cute butterfly earrings. We're making more butterflies. I've made them using Miyuki Delica beads. You can obviously use any beads you want. Keep in mind the size. They're decent in size, so you can make a pendant or earrings or anything you want. For the colors, I separated my colors in 3 stacks. So I have this stack here, which is like this orange rusty. It's this dark yellow, more like orange but lighter orange, and it's this cream. Now when I'm gonna name the colors, I'm gonna call this rusty, yellow, and cream. Hopefully I will not get confused, but this is how I'm gonna call them. So rusty, yellow, cream. Now I'm going to show you which they are in case you want to get the exact same colors. This is opaque Pearlust. The orange, the orange or yellow, doesn't matter because I'm going to call this rusty. It's this opaque dyed light squash. And this rusty, it's this one, I got it from BB. This is a matte, this is not shiny color. Now, then we have this group here, which is one turquoise, which is opaque, some turquoise, you have the code here. And we have this light blue, which is this code here. And we have these two here, which is black, normal black. And I've used this gray. Now this is not necessarily gray. It's more like gray cream. Like it's, the idea was to make it gray, but I found this shade, and I think it works way better in the pattern, because even like, I don't know how to explain. So the more colors you have that are like similar shade, I feel like it looks more like shadows and stuff, because you see, somehow blends with the cream, but at the same time it doesn't. I don't know how to explain. I just like it a little bit better. You can obviously use any color you want, any combination, it's perfectly fine. They're butterflies. Any color you will use, it's going to be okay. For the needle, I went with this number 11. You can use a thinner one if you want, because we will be going places, because yeah, so you can use a thinner needle. For the thread, I'm going to be using this Toho One-G. You can use any thread you want as long as it's sturdy and it doesn't break. If you're gonna make a pendant, you will need that circly thingy, and if you're gonna make earrings, obviously you're gonna need a clasp. I went with this golden rose. I don't know, it just feels like it goes better. Golden would be too yellow, and this kind of feels like it goes better. See this golden rose? I don't know. It's a stainless steel golden rose clasp. Okay, now before we start with the project, please consider subscribing, giving a like, and let me know in the comments if you want me to make more butterflies, and if you want me to make something else like animals, flowers, object in brick stitch, anything. If you want, I'm open to suggestions, so please let me know in the comments what would you like. So yeah, prepare your beads. So I have here already prepared the cream, yellow, rusty, turquoise, light blue, gray, black. So prepare your beads. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 colors. Thread your needle, and we're going to start making the butterfly. Don't worry, I will go slow. I will explain everything. We will do full butterfly, no skipping, no nothing. You can do it with me. You can put the speed lower. So I'm going to do it as beginner friendly as possible and explain every step that I'm making. Okay. No more chit chat. Prepare your beads, thread your needle, and we're gonna come back and start this super cute butterfly. Okay, I zoomed in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. I have my needle threaded. I put not so much thread because I'm gonna show you how to change thread, and you'll anyway have to add more thread. I have my beads here nicely prepared. Now, in every brick stitch, we will start with a ladder stitch. Now, how we start this ladder stitch? We're going to pick up one rusty. Let me just arrange like this. So, one rusty and one orange. This is what we pick up at the beginning. We will hold on to these and pull them to the tail. See, here is my tail. I'm gonna hold on to it like this, and I'm going to go up to the rusty, like so. They're going to be sitting side by side like this. Now I go up through the orange, like so. And here I'm gonna make a knot. Like so. Now, without adding any beads, I'm going to go down with my needle through the orange. Like so. Okay. Now we can start the ladder stitch. Now pick up a cream. And in the ladder stitch, we need to make circles. So we go around the previous bead. So my thread is coming down from here down, and we go up with the bead that we have on. So this is how we're going to be doing. And now, without adding any beads, we go up through the cream. So I'm trying to hold on to it and show you as best as I can. First 2 rows are a little bit tricky, and after that it goes very, very easy to show you everything I do. I will do my best. Next up, pick up a black bead. And the same, but now thread is coming from the, you see the thread is going up to the top. We go through the bottom. Like so. And without adding any beads, we go down through the black that we just added. Next up, pick up a cream. Thread is on the bottom, we go through the top. We go up through the cream. Now pick up one black. Thread is on the top, we go through the bottom, go down through the black, pick up one more black, thread is on the bottom, we go through the top, and go up through the black, pick up another black, thread is on the top, we go through the bottom, and go down through the black. This is the third black we added. Pick up one more black, thread is on the bottom, we go through the top. So now we have 4 black beads, and we go up through the black. Next up, pick up a turquoise. Thread is on the top, we go through the bottom. So go down through the turquoise. Pick up a cream. Thread is on the bottom, we go through the top. And go up through the cream. Pick up a orange. Thread is on the top, we go through the bottom. And go down through the orange. Pick up one more orange. Thread is on the bottom, we go through the top. And go up through the second orange. Pick up a cream. Thread is on the top, we go through the bottom. Go down through the cream. Pick up a turquoise. Thread is on the bottom, we go through the top. and we go up through the turquoise, pick up a black. Just bring some black here because they're so far away from me. Put them in the corner. Thread is on the top. We go through the bottom and go down through the first black. Pick up another black. Thread is on the bottom. We go through the top like so, and go up through the second black. Me hitting the phone is not part of the pattern. I'm sorry about that. Pick up another black. Thread is on the top. We go through the bottom. So now we go down through the third black. Pick up another black. Thread is on the bottom. We go through the top. And go up through the fourth black. Pick up a cream. Thread is on the top. We go through the bottom. We just squeeze this a bit and now we go down through the cream. So if they're not very nice sitting one next to each other, it's okay. We will fix that afterwards. So after the cream, pick up another black. I mean, they will fix themselves. We don't need to do anything. Thread is on the bottom. We go through the top like so, and we go up through the black. Pick up another cream. Thread is on the top. We go through the bottom. Go down through the cream. Pick up an orange. Thread is on the bottom. We go through the top. And go up through the orange. Pick up a rusty. Thread is on the top. We go through the bottom. And go down through the rusty. Now, just to enforce it, I'm going to go one more time through the orange and back through to the rusty again. Like so. And this is our ladder stitch. So the first row, the ladder stitch. Now don't worry about the tail. The tail is on your opposite side. The tail we will work later on, so we will work it in. Don't worry about it. Now if you have a longer tail and if you want to work it in the pattern, you will be able to do so when we have a little bit more rows to work it in. But for now, just ignore the tail. So this is our ladder stitch. This is how what we start with. Okay, now we will start the brick stitch. So brick stitch is it's different than ladder stitch. So I turned the work, yes. So this here is where my tail is. I turned the work. Now in brick stitch, we don't work directly in the beads. If you turn, so this is how the beads look. If you turn them like this, where the holes are, you will see that in between each of the beads, you see thread. And we're going to work the brick stitch in this thread here. So this is where we're going to be working, in the thread between the beads, so not directly in the beads. Now pick up one rusty and one cream, because I want to show you so you understand how we go. One rusty and one cream. Now you will go with these two beads under the thread between the second and the third bead, so between the orange and the cream. You see here there is some thread in between them, and that's where we go with these two. Going to pull the thread slowly, and it will look like this. Now we go up through the cream like so, sorry, and we're gonna pull a little bit. Now you will see that the rusty is sticking up, so we need to slip the rusty. We go down through the rusty like so, and we go up through the cream, and this should make the rusty go to sleep. When we pull, you see the rusty goes to sleep down. Okay, now we can continue. So on the first time of the the first beads of the brick stitch row, we're going to take 2 beads. From now on till the end of the row we work with 1 bead, but the first how we start the row, we always start with 2 beads. Okay, next up we will be picking up 1 black, and we will go as again under the thread. We always work under the thread. We will go under the thread between this cream and this black. See, this is the next space, so in between those, this is where we're going to go with the next bead, like so, and then we go up through the black. Now when you go up through the black, make sure you don't poke your thread, so you don't unravel it, like so. Next up, pick up 1 gray and go under the next thread. So between the black, I will show you just to put it in, so between the black and the cream from the previous row. I will only go this slow the first row, so you guys understand how the brick stitch works, and afterwards we're going to go a little bit more faster. And now we go up through the gray. Next up, pick up a cream and you go under the next thread. So the next thread is between the cream and that first black from the group of 4 blacks. That's where we put the next cream, like so, and we go up through the cream. Now pick up 1 black and we go under the thread between the first and the second black from the previous row. Like so. And we go up through the black. Next up, pick up 1 blue and go under the next thread. So it's between the second and the third black bead from the previous row. And we go up through the blue. Pick up 1 more blue. And we go under the next thread. So between the third and the fourth black from the previous row. Like so, and we go up through the blue. Pick up 1 more blue and go under the next thread, so between the black and the turquoise from the previous row. And go up through the blue. Now pick up 1 gray and go under the next thread, so under the thread between the turquoise and the cream from the previous row. And go up through the gray. Pick up 1 orange and go under the next thread, so between the cream and the orange from the previous row. And we go up through the orange. pick up one black and go under the next thread, so under the thread between those two orange beads from the previous row, and go up through the black, pick up one orange and go under the next thread, so between the orange and the cream from the previous row, and go up through the orange, now pick up one gray and go under the next thread, so between the cream and the turquoise from the previous row, like so, and go up through the gray, pick up one blue and go under the next thread, so between the turquoise and the black from the previous row, and go up through the blue, pick up one more blue and go under the next thread, so between the first and the second black from the previous row, and go up through the blue, pick up one more blue, and we go under the next thread, so between the second and the third black from the previous row, like so, and we go up through the blue, pick up one black, and we go under the next thread, so between the third and the fourth black from the previous row, and go up through the black, now pick up one cream and go under the next thread, so between the black and the cream from the previous row, and go up through the cream, pick up one gray and go under the next thread, so between the cream and the black from the previous row, and up through the gray. I need to do my nails. I will soon. Pick up one black bead and go under the thread between the black and the cream from the previous row, and go up through the black, pick up one cream and go under the next thread, so between the cream and the orange from the previous row, and go up through the cream, and pick up one rusty go under the next thread, so between the orange and the rusty from the previous row, like so, and go up through the rusty. And this is what we have so far. This is the ladder stitch and the first row of the brick stitch. Now we turn our work like so, and we're going to start again with 2 beads. We're going to pick up one rusty and one orange, and we go under the thread between the first and the second bead, so between the rusty and the cream from the previous row, and we go up through the orange. Because this is an increase row. We have decrease rows and increase rows. Next up, pick up a cream, and we go under the next thread, so between the cream and the black from the previous row, and we go up through the cream, pick up one black, under the next thread between the black and the gray from the previous row, and we go up through the black, pick up one cream, and we go under the next thread, so between the gray and the cream from the previous row, and we go up through the cream, pick up one black, under the next thread, so between the cream and the black from the previous row, and we go up through the black, pick up one blue, and go under the next thread, so between the black and the first blue of the previous row, and we go up through the blue, double D double die, pick up another blue, and go under the next thread, so between the first 2 blues from the previous row, and up through the blue, pick up another blue, and go under the next thread, so between the second and the third blue from the previous row, and up through the blue, pick up a turquoise, and go under the next thread, so between the blue and the gray, gray from the previous. I have a hard time making when I see so much light, the gray and the cream, sorry, but I don't say them correctly. Now pick up one orange, and go under the next thread, so between the gray and the orange from the previous row, and up through the orange, pick up one black, under the next thread, so between the orange and the black from the previous row, and go up through the black, pick up one more black, under the next thread, so between the black and the orange from the previous row, and go up through the black. Now pick up an orange, and go under the next thread, so between the orange and the gray from the previous row, and up through the orange, pick up one turquoise, and go under the next thread, so between the gray and the blue from the previous row, go up through the turquoise, pick up a blue, and go under the next thread, so between those first 2 blue from the previous row, and go up through the blue, pick up one more blue, and go under the next thread, so between the second and the third blue from the previous row, and go up through the blue, pick up one more blue, and go under the next thread, so between the blue and the black from the previous row, and up through the blue, now pick up one black, go under the next thread, so between the black and the cream from the previous row, and up through the black, pick up one cream and go under the thread between the cream and the gray from the previous row, and up through the cream, pick up one black and go under the next thread, so between the gray and the black from the previous row, and up through the black, pick up one cream and go under the next thread, so between the black and the cream from the previous row, and up through the cream, pick up an orange and go under the next thread, so between the cream and the rusty from the previous row, and go up to the orange. Now pick up a rusty and we're going to go under the same thread as we went with the orange, so we're going to go under the same thread here. This is why I said thinner needle helps. See, we're under the same thread where we put this orange one, we go again with the rusty, like so. Going to arrange it so it comes nicely into the place. When it's here, I'm going to hold on to this, pull the thread a bit so it makes a little pop, and then I go up through the rusty. And this is what we have so far. Okay, next up we turn the work like so. Pick up one rusty and one cream, and we go under the thread between the second and the third bead from the previous row, so between the orange and the cream from the other row from the previous row. Next, now we go up through the cream, rusty sticking out, down through the rusty, and up through the cream again. And when we pull the rusty, it should go sleep, like so. Next up, pick up one orange and go under the next thread. Let me just adjust how I sit so you guys can see everything. So you guys can see everything and the mistakes I do. Mistakes are normal. Now pick up one black under the next thread, and go up through the black. Pick up one more black under the next thread, and up through the black. Pick up one blue under the next thread, one more blue under the next thread, one more blue, and then under the next thread, now pick up one turquoise under the next thread, 1 gray under the next thread, one rusty under the next thread, one black under the next thread, one rusty, one gray, one turquoise, one blue, one blue, and one more blue, so we have 3 blue here. Pick up a black, one more black, one orange, one cream, and one rusty. Let me untwist my thread. I will show you soon what we have so far. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Next up, now we will do a little bit of increase here, but I will do it very slow. Now pick up 2 rusty, go under the thread between the first and the second bead, so between the rusty and the cream, like so. Go up through this second rusty to the one towards the body of the butterfly, like so. Now don't pick any beads, go down through the first rusty, like so. We need to add one more bead here, and we will do it ladder stitch style. So now pick up another rusty, and thread is coming from the bottom. We go with this new rusty from the top, so I'm going to push it a little bit down, and I'm going to go through this side, through here, and I'm going to go down through this second rusty. Yes, so I have a rusty bead on my thread, And now when I'm gonna pull this, see, here is my new bead. When I pull, this will come here. Yes, and the thread is coming out of the second bead. Now I'm gonna turn my work just a little bit so I can show you properly. Yes, so I added the new rusty like in a ladder stitch, but now I need to come back to this bead because I need to finish the row. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna hold on to this. I will go through the first rusty here because thread is coming from the bottom. Yes, I will go through this rusty here that I added like a ladder stitch, like so. Now my thread is coming up from the first rusty. I go down through this second rusty, like so. And now I go up through the third rusty. So this is how I added another rusty bead, ladder style, ladder stitch. Now I will turn the work, yes, so we can continue, and I will show again. So we did the normal increase, we did 2 rusty, and this we added as a ladder stitch. We will do more of these, but I will do all of them very slowly. Okay, so after the 3 rusty, pick up a cream and go under the next thread. Pick up an orange under the next thread. One gray. The next thread. One turquoise. One more turquoise. One blue. One turquoise. One cream. One more cream. One black. One more black. One cream. One more cream. One turquoise. one blue, one turquoise, one more turquoise, one gray, one orange, one cream, one rusty, one rusty, and with this one we go under the same thread as we did with this rusty. So see, same thread as the previous rusty. Arranging it into place and going up through the second rusty. Now you see on this side we have 3 rusty and here 2, so we need 1 more rusty. So pick up this, here it will be a little bit different than here, just a little bit. So pick up a rusty, yeah, and we do again ladder stitch. The thread is coming from the top, we go through the bottom like so. We arrange the rusty into place. Thread is coming from this second rusty here. Go with the needle through the last rusty you added, go down through it like so. Go up through the second rusty, like so. Now go down through the first rusty here plus the cream like so. And I'll explain to you why, because I need my needle to come up from the rusty, not the thread to go like this up from the rusty, not towards down. Now go through this rusty here near the cream plus the rusty that we just came from, but I want to go with my needle on top of the thread, not on under, because you see I have a thread there and I want to go on top. So I'm gonna go first through the this rusty and then through this one. So I make sure that when I pull the thread now, I'm not going to stick out that thread there like so. So now my thread is coming from this rusty. Now go down through the second rusty like so and up through this one, because this is how I want to start my next row. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Next row is going to be an increase row again. So let me untwist my thread, because we're going to do a little bit more of this ladder increases. Okay, so we have these 3 rusties down. Now pick up 1 rusty and 1 orange. Go under the thread between the first and the second rusty here. Like so. Go up through the orange. Okay. Now, we will have to do as we did on this side here. Go down through this rusty to the first rusty. Like so. Pick up a rusty. Then we will do a ladder stitch again. So we will go with this rusty, thread is coming from the bottom, we go through the top, like so. I'm gonna try to show you, just need my thread to move a bit. Like so. Now, go up through the first rusty that you just added. I'm trying to hold on to it, but I see what I do. Like so. Now go down through this second rusty. Like so. And up through the orange, and we can continue with the row. Now pick up another orange and go under the next thread. Pick up a rusty under the next thread. Pick up another rusty under the next thread. One orange. One cream. One more cream. Turquoise. 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 So we had 3 turquoise in this group. Gray. Rusty. Black. Rusty. Gray. turquoise, 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 cream, cream, orange, rusty, rusty, orange, orange, one rusty in the same space as this last orange, so under the same thread, okay. And now we need to do as we did on this row here. So pick up a rusty, thread is coming from the top, we go through the bottom like so. Now my thread is coming from this rusty here, go down through the rusty we just added like so, go up through the previous rusty, now go down through the orange and the rusty here, now go up through the rusty and the orange we came down from. My thread is so twisted that it makes knots. Now go down through this rusty here, and up through the first rusty. And this is what we have so far. Okay, next up, turn your work. This row is going to be easier. Pick up a rusty and one orange and go under the thread between the first and the second bead, so between these two rusty here. Like so. And go up through the orange. Pick up one more orange under the next thread. One cream. One orange. One more orange. One rusty. One orange. One more orange. One cream. One turquoise. One turquoise. One gray. One orange. One black. One more black. One orange. One gray. One turquoise. One turquoise. One cream. One orange. One more orange. One rusty. one orange, one more orange, one cream, one orange, one more orange, oi, oi. And now pick up a rusty. I might have made a knot here, just a bit. Sorry about that. So pick up a rusty and we go in the same space as we did this orange. Like so. And this is what we have so far. Next up, untwist your thread if your thread is twisted, like mine. Now pick up one rusty and one orange. And go under the thread between the first and the second bead. Like so. And go up through the orange. Now pick up a cream. One more cream. One more cream. And one more cream, so we have 4 cream in total. Pick up an orange. One rusty. One more rusty. One orange. One more orange. one cream, one turquoise, one cream, one rusty, one black, one rusty, one cream, one turquoise, one cream, one orange, one more orange, one rusty, one more rusty, one orange, and now we need to go with 4 cream like we have here on this other side. So first cream, second cream, third cream, and fourth cream. Now pick up an orange, and in the same space as we put the orange, we will take one rusty and we put under the same thread. next. And this is what we have so far. Now we turn the work and we start with the next row. Pick up one orange and one cream and go under the thread between the second and the third bead from the previous row. Up through the cream, down through the orange, and up through the cream again. Let me zoom in a little bit more though. Okay. Next. Now pick up one gray in the next space. One more gray. One cream. One black. One cream. One orange. One rusty. One more rusty. One orange. One cream. One more cream. One orange. One black. One more black. One orange. One cream. One more cream. One orange. one rusty, one more rusty, one orange, one cream, one black, one cream, one gray, one more gray, one cream, and one orange in the last space. And this is what we have so far. Now turn your work. Pick up one orange and one cream. And go under the thread between the first and the second bead. And go up through the cream. Now pick up one black. One more black. One gray. One cream. One black. One turquoise. One cream. One more cream. One rusty. One more rusty. One orange. 1 cream. I just made one fly away. 1 rusty. 1 black. 1 rusty. 1 cream. 1 orange. 1 rusty. 1 more rusty. 1 cream. 1 more cream. 1 turquoise. 1 black. 1 cream. 1 gray. 1 black. 1 more black. 1 cream. 1 orange in the same under the same thread as the cream one. And this is what we have so far. Next up, turn your work like so. After this row I'm going to change the thread. Pick up 1 rusty and 1 cream. Let me just rusty, 1 cream, and go under the thread between the first and the second bead, and just go up through the cream. Pick up 1 black, one more black, one more black, one gray, one black, one more black, one turquoise, one more turquoise, one cream, one more cream, and one more cream. So we have 3 cream here. One orange, one cream, one black, one more black, one cream, one orange, one cream, one more cream, and one more cream, one turquoise. This is blue. One more turquoise, one black, one more black, one gray, well, I had an accident here. I'm going to put my thread back on the needle, and I'm going to so what I'm gonna do now, because my needle went off the thread, I'm going to put it back, and I'm going to work the thread in my piece, and then I'm going to cut it off, making sure I don't skip any beads. I go up and down, and then I'm going to change my thread and come and show you how I attach the new one. Okay, so what happened? The needle fell from the thread because it was too short. So off camera, I put the needle back on the thread, and I worked my thread in the body of the butterfly. And when I was safe, that like I went up and down, up, right and left, and when I was safe, I just cut it off. And now I have new thread, and I'm going to show you how I attach this new thread to the piece. So I'm just going to go through a random bead. So I'm going to go through this one. I'm going to pull it. So here's my tail. Now I will go to the one next to it, like so. I'm going to hide the thread, so I'm going to pull from both, so the thread is hidden. And now I'm going to go through the one that I went the first time, so I make like a circle. I feel it's more resistant that way. And now you see there's that loop there. Now I'm just going to pull from both the tail and the working thread, so that they're both hidden in the beads. Now I will go a little bit up, and I will do this one more time. So I will go through this one, I go through this one. Now I go to these rusties. I don't like working in the rusties because rusties are matte and they're not slippery. But we will make our way towards here where we need to exit the gray bead where my accident happened. Now I will how you check if you went enough, you pull the working thread and the tail doesn't move, so then you know it's enough, and I can just make my way up to the gray bead where we left off, and we can continue. And now I will just cut the tail here. Okay. So after the gray bead, we pick up one black. Oi, oi. One more black. One more black. One cream. And one rusty in the same space as we went with the cream. And this is what we have so far. Next up, turn your work. Pick up two rusty and go under the thread between the first and the second bead, like so. and go up through the second rusty, so the one closer to the body of the butterfly. Pick up one black under the next thread, one cream, one black, one more black, one gray, one black, one more black, one gray, one turquoise, one more turquoise, one orange, one cream, one orange, one rusty, one black, one rusty, one orange, one cream, one orange, one turquoise, one more turquoise, one gray, one black, one more black, one gray, one black, one more black, one cream, one black, one rusty, and one more rusty in the same space as the last rusty. Next up, this is what we have so far. Next up, let me untwist my thread again. This is, I think, the twistiest twist. Okay, so this row, the next one, is going to be again an increase with a ladder. So first off, pick up two orange, go under the thread between the first and the second bead, so between these two rusty, like so. Go up through the second orange, like so. Now go down to the first orange, like so. Pick up a rusty and go from the top down with the rusty. So that the rusty come here, like this. Now go up through the rusty. I'm gonna hold on to it, but you guys know what I'm doing. Hopefully no knots. So I'm going up through the rusty, like so. Now go down through this second orange here. Second, like the middle bead here. Like so. And up through this orange, so we can continue the row. I'm adjusting the lighting because it feels very yellow light. Okay. Again, I think I twisted my thread. I don't know what I'm doing, honestly, I have no idea. Now pick up a cream. So we're going to continue the row and go under the next thread. One black, one more black, and one more black, pick up one gray, one black, one gray, one more gray, one orange, one cream, one more cream, one orange, one cream, one orange, one black, one more black, one orange, one cream, one orange, one cream, one more cream, one orange, one gray, one more gray, one black, one gray, one black, one more black, and one more black. One cream, one orange, one more orange, and we're going to put it in the same space as the previous, in this under the same thread as the previous orange. And now pick up a rusty. Thread is coming on the top. We go from the bottom to this last orange. Like so. Now go down through the rusty. Go up through this orange on the side of it. Go down through the next orange and the rusty on the diagonal. Now go to the right rusty and go up through this orange here. Now go down to the orange next to it and up through the rusty, because we need it to come out of the rusty. That's why we did all that. I need to untwist my thread quick. So this is what we have so far. Next up, pick up one rusty and one orange. And go under the thread between the first and the second bead. So here. Like so. And go up through the orange one. Now pick up a cream under the next thread. one more cream, and one more cream. So we have 3 cream beads here. Pick up a gray, one more gray, and one more gray. One black, one orange, one cream, one more cream, one orange, one cream, one more cream, one orange, one cream, one orange, one black, one orange, one cream, one orange, one cream, one more cream, orange, cream, One more cream. Orange. Black. Gray. One more gray. And one more gray. Cream. Cream. And one more cream. One orange. And one rusty in the same space as this orange, so under the same thread. It will go a little bit hard, but we have to force it in. Next. And this is what we have so far. Next up, turn your work. My needle is super bended. Pick up two rusty and go under the thread between the first and the second bead. Next. And go up through the second rusty, the one towards the body of the butterfly. Now we have to go with 4 cream. So first cream, second, third, and fourth cream. Ignore that tail. Next up we need to go with 3 black. So 1, 2, and 3, one gray, one orange, cream, one more cream, orange, one more orange, cream, orange, cream, black, one more black, cream, orange, cream, orange, one more orange, cream, one more cream, orange, gray, black, 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 now we need to go with 4 cream, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now pick up a rusty and one more rusty in the same space as the previous one. Like so. And this is what we have so far. Now turn your work. Pick up one rusty and one orange. And go under the thread between the second and the third bead. Like so. Up through the orange. Down through the rusty. And up through the orange again. Like so. Now pick up one black. Under the next thread. One more black. One cream. One black. One more black. One gray. One more gray. And now we need to add 9. Let me check again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yes, 9 orange. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9. One black, and now again we need to go with 9 orange. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seven, 8, 9. Next up, pick up one gray, one more gray, black, one more black, cream, black, black, orange, and one rusty. This is what we have so far. I need to untwist my thread again. Okay. Now we turned the work. Now pick up 2 rusty and go under the thread between the first and the second bead, like so, and go up through the second rusty. Now pick up 1 black under the next thread, one cream, one black, one cream, one black, one orange, one cream, one more cream, one orange, one cream, one more cream, one black, one cream, one more cream, orange, orange, black, stubborn beads, and one more black, orange, orange, cream, cream, black, cream, cream, orange, cream, and one more cream, orange, black, cream, black, cream, black, rusty, and one more rusty in the same space as the previous one, so under the same thread. And this is what we have so far. Next up, turn your work. I changed the thread in the meanwhile because, yeah. Okay, now pick up one rusty and one orange. And go under the thread between the second and the third bead. Here. Go up through the orange. Down through the rusty. And up through the orange again. One black. One more black. One cream. One black. one gray, one orange, one black, one cream, one more cream, one black, one orange, one black, one cream, one more cream, one orange, now we need to go with 3 black, so 1, 2, and 3, orange, cream, one more cream, black, orange, black, cream, black, orange, gray, black, cream, black, black, orange, and one rusty. And this is what we have so far. Now we finished the body, so let me explain. Let me zoom out a bit so I show you. So you see how this is, yes? Now it's the body, the top wing, the one wing top, the bottom. So we finished the big part, the body. Now we will have to do the top wing, this where we put the clasp, the other wing, and then we come down. So we do here, then when we come down, and the last we do the bottom part where we will work the tail in. Okay, now I'm gonna zoom back in. Okay, so we will start now with untwisting my thread. Okay, so we will do the one of the top wings now. So pick up one rusty and one orange, like so, and go under the thread between the second and the third bead, like so, up through the orange, down through the rusty, and up through the orange again, like so. Now one cream, one more cream, one black, one cream, one black, one orange, one black, one cream, one black, one rusty, one black, one orange, one cream, and one orange. And this is where we will stop, because now we will turn the work because we do the wings. So now, so we you see, so we did from here, yes, till here, and now we stop here because from here we will go again towards this part because we need to do the top of the wing. So stop at this. We will not go on this side. This we will do after we finish this side. So now we stopped here. Next up, what we need to do, my needle has to come out of this cream here. So what I'm going to do, without picking any beads, I'm going to go down through these two cream, like so. So I don't have any beads on because I just want to move where my thread is coming out of. So I went down through these two cream. Now I will go to the right cream and up to the cream where I need my thread to come out of. Like so. So now this is my first bead. Now pick up one orange and one rusty. And we go under the thread between this orange and black, like so. Now go up through the rusty, down through the orange, and up through the rusty again. Now pick up an orange, one black, one cream, one black, one orange, one rusty, 1 black, one rusty, one black, one more black, and one rusty. This will be the last bead of this row here on the wing. This is what we have so far. Now turn the work. We're still working on this wing and we're coming from the exterior to the interior. Pick up one rusty and one orange and go under the thread between these two black beads here. Next. Go up through the orange, down through the rusty, and up through the orange again. Like so. Now pick up an orange, and one more orange, so we have 3 orange here. One black, one orange, one black, one orange, one more orange, one rusty, and one orange. Now turn your work like so. So we're going from the interior to the exterior without adding any beads. Go down through the rusty. So we're not adding any beads, we just need to move where our thread is coming out from. So down through the rusty and up through this orange here. Let me just untwist a bit. And now this is the last row of this wing. And here we need to add 5 rusty. So pick up 2 rusty and go under the thread between this orange and the black. Like so. Go up through the second rusty down through the first, and up through the second again. So this is 2 rusty and we need to add 3 more. So this is 3rd rusty, 4th rusty, and 5th rusty. Okay, now I need to move so that my needle comes out of this black bead here, because I need to make the where to put the clasp. So just make your way through these beads so that you exit that black one. There is no right way or just one way, it's just you just have to make your way there. As you can see, I'm randomly going through the beads just to make my way to that black one there. All you need to be careful is to not go with the thread on top of beads, and that when you pull the thread, to pull it a little bit so that it's not visible, you know, in between the beads, the thread I mean. Right, doesn't want. This is why I said that maybe a thinner needle, you know, would be best, because we need to move around. Okay, so it doesn't matter how or which way you went, as long as your needle, your thread is coming from this first black here. So I'm turning the work like this, yes. So this is the one we're done with. Here we pick up 2 black and we go under this thread here, like so, up through the second black, down through the first, and up through the second again. Now pick up 1 black bead, go down these 2 black beads, like so, go up through, go to the right, so through this middle black from the 3. Now go through this one here, and now go through this one here, the one that is just alone. Now pick up 6 black beads, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and thread is coming from this side here, and we go through this side, so we make the loop where we put the clasp. Now here you should go like 2, 3, 4 times, as many times as you want, and as many times as the needle and the thread leave you. So I'm just going through this loop several times, because this is where the clasp will be, so I want this to be a little bit resistant, you know. So I'm just going through all of them, including that one there. So I'll just go one more time. Like so. And I'm going to be exiting from this one bead here. Now what I need to do, so from this one here, I'm going to go down through these 2 black here. So thread is coming from that one from the loop, See, look, it's here. And I go down through these two black. Like so. And from here I go up through this yellow, and we will start to make the second top wing. Okay, now pick up one orange and one cream and go under the thread between these two cream here, like so. Up through the cream, down through the orange, and up through the cream again. Now pick up an orange under the next thread, one black, one rusty, one black, one cream, one black, one orange, one black, one cream, one black, one cream, one more cream, one orange, and one rusty. Okay. And we're done with this row here as well. I wasn't twisting my thread again, because yes. Okay. Now for the next row, we need our thread to come out of the orange, not the rusty. So what we're going to do, we go down without adding any beads. We go down through these two orange, like so. Now we go to the right, so through this black and up through the orange where I needed to come out from. Next. And now we can continue. Now pick up one rusty and one black and go under the thread between these two cream here, like so. Go up through the black, down through the rusty, and up through the black again. One black again, and one more black. One rusty. One black. One rusty. One orange. One black. One cream. One black. One orange. One rusty. And one orange. Like so. Now turn your work. We're going to go from the interior to the exterior, but again I need my needle to come out of the rusty, not the orange. So what we're going to do, without adding any beads, you go down through the rusty and the orange, like so. Now go on the right through this black and up through the rusty, and then that's where we're going to start the next row. Next. Now pick up one orange and one rusty and go under the thread between the orange and the black from the previous row. Next. Go up through the rusty, down through the orange, and up through the rusty again. Now pick up an orange in the next space. One more orange. One black. One orange. One black. Now we need to go with 3 orange, so 1, 2, 2 and 3 and 1 rusty. Now I need so we're done with this row. We have the last row of the top from this top petal, so I turned my work, so we only need to add the rusty here, but as you can see it has to come out of this bead here. So I'm going to go down through this orange like so, up through the next orange like so, down through the orange and the rusty here, like so, and now I go through this black one on the right plus the orange up, because this is where I need to start the row from, like so. And here on the top I need to add my 5 rusty, so pick up 2 rusty and go under the thread between this black and the orange one, so it's coming from this and we go under there like so, up through the second rusty, down through the first and up through the second again. So this is 2, now 3, 4, and 5. Now we finished the top part. Let me zoom out so I show. So we finished the top part of the butterfly, and all we need to do is the bottom part. Okay, so now we need to make, let me zoom back in. Now we need to make our way down, so we need to move with the, so we need to make our way that we exit this here. So we're here and we need to come out from here. So we start this part here. So however you wish, it doesn't matter, there is no right or wrong way, as long as you don't skip beads, you will be fine. So I'm just making my way down somehow, doesn't matter how, as long as we reach there and we hide the thread, then we're okay. Like if you have short thread here, you know, you can just cut it and add attach it lower. So but mine is pretty long right now and I don't want to waste it. I doesn't want to go through there. I'm testing, you know, because if a bead has too much thread inside of it and you want to go with the needle again through it, it's risky because you might break the bead, and you definitely don't want a broken bead in the middle of the project. So you have to test where it's easy to pass the needle through. That's why the thin needle, because they're beads, you know, they don't resist so much mechanic pressure. Still making my way down. I'm slow. I'm sure you guys are already there waiting for me. I shall soon arrive. Now when I'm close to here, I'm going to turn the work, you know, upside down, because it's easier to go like this, as we will anyway have to work it upside down. Okay. So it doesn't matter the path, doesn't matter how you took it, as long as you reached here down, so that we can continue the this. Okay. So we started the bottom part now. Try to put the tail somehow in the back so it doesn't bother you, because we will work this tail we will work when we do this part here. Now we're starting from this side here. See, I'm holding this upside down because we do the bottom part. Pick up one rusty and one orange and go under the thread between the second and the third bead. Now here it's going to be a little bit tricky to put, because this is the ladder row, so it's going to be a little bit harder to push the thread, to push the needle through it, because the thread is tight, but we need to push a bit. Now go up through the orange and down to the rusty and up to the orange again. Next. Now pick up a cream in the next space. Now we need to go with 4 black. So 1, 2, 3, 4. One gray, one black, one gray, and one orange. Now this is where we stop here to turn around. So we turn the work, hide the tail on this other side now, and we're going to go from the interior to the exterior. Pick up one orange and one cream and go under the thread between this gray and the black from the previous row, like so, up through the cream, down through the orange, and up through the cream again, like so. Now pick up one black, one gray, one black, one more black, one cream, one more cream, one orange, and one rusty. And this is what we have so far. Now now we turn the work. And now we're going to go from the exterior to the interior. Pick up one rusty and one orange. And go under the thread between this orange and the cream from the previous row. Up through the orange, down through the rusty, and up through the orange again, like so. Now pick up one more orange in the next space here. One cream, now we need to add 3 black, so 1, 2, and 3, one rusty, and one orange. Next up, turn your work. Now we're going from the interior to the exterior, so from the middle to the exterior. Pick up 2 orange and go under the thread between the rusty and the black, up through the second orange, down through the first, and up through the second again, Now pick up another orange, one gray, one orange, one more orange, one rusty, and one more rusty. This is this row. Okay, now turn the work. Now we're going to go from the exterior to the interior, so from the exterior to the middle, but I need my thread to come out of this rusty here. So without adding any beads, go through this rusty on the side plus the orange on the down, like so. Now go through the orange on the right and up through the rusty that I need my thread to come out of. Like so. Now pick up two rusty and go under the thread between these two orange from the previous row, up through the second rusty, down through the first, and up through the second again, like so. Now pick up another rusty, under the next thread, one orange, and one more orange. And we finished one bottom part from down. Now we need to make our way, so we exit this one here, so we finish the last piece of the butterfly. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through these two here, through this one here, like so, and I'm gonna go down through all of these orange, like this, and up through this one. Because this is where I'm going to start the last piece of the butterfly. Now, from the beginning, I'm gonna work in the tail because it's bothering me for a while. Pick up one orange and one gray. And go under the thread between the cream and the blue or turquoise, whatever color is there. Like so. Up through the gray, down through the orange, and up through the gray again. Pick up one black, now before we go with the needle to the back, through the black, bring the tail on top of the working thread, and make sure when you go through the black that your needle is on top of the tail. So it's working thread, tail, needle. Because when I pull here, see, it hides it in there. And now every bead I put, I make sure that the tail is hidden in there. Now pick up a gray in the next space, making sure, see, my tail is there, like so. Now I need to go with 4 black, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Now pick up a cream. One orange. And 1 rusty. And I can finally cut that tail from here, so it doesn't bother me anymore. Okay. So untwist a little bit. Okay, for the next row, we're going to go from the exterior to the interior. Pick up 1 rusty and 1 orange. And go under the thread between the second and the third bead here. Like so. Up through the orange. Down through the rusty. And up through the orange again. Now pick up a cream. Like so. 1 more cream. One black. One more black. One gray. One black. One cream. And 1 orange. So turn your work. This is what we have so far. Now we're going to go from the interior to the exterior. Pick up 1 orange and 1 rusty. And go under the thread between the cream and the black. up through the rusty, down through the orange, and up through the rusty again. Now we need to go with 3 black, so 1, 2, and 3. One cream, one orange, one more orange, and one rusty. Next up, turn your work. Now we're going from the exterior to the interior. Pick up 2 rusty and go under the thread between these 2 orange, up to the second rusty, down to the first, and up to the second again. Now pick up 1 orange, one more orange, one gray, orange, orange, and one more orange. Turn your work. Now for the last row, we're going from the interior to the exterior, but I need my thread to come out of this bead here. So without adding any beads, I'm going to go through this orange and through the rusty down, like so. Now I go through this black on the right plus the orange where I need to start my next row from. Pick up 2 orange and go under the thread between the orange and the gray, up through the second orange, down through the first, and up through the second again. One rusty, one more rusty, and the last bead of this butterfly, guys, is one rusty, and we are done. Now we need to work. Let me zoom out so you guys see they're identical. We will need to work our thread in and attach the clasp, and then we are done, and we managed to do these very, very pretty butterflies. Hopefully you guys liked it. I know it's a little bit long, but they're brick stitch, they're butterflies, they're cute. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you will make as many butterflies as possible. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me, do you want me to make more butterflies, more other stuff? It really helps a lot if the video is liked, commented, you know, gives attention to it, gives views, and I need that. And yeah, so check out the other butterfly video. I have one more posted. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And yeah, have fun beading, and bye bye.